sunshine.
Oh, man. I wanted to go.
For a shower.
Time for Arizona's only local sports gambling radio show. Take the Points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the Points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio.
You're live.
Good Saturday morning to you. We are live at the CAZ Sportsbook Casino, Arizona. Mike Gross, Mike Bauer, Jackson Groff, and a special guest board op today. Producer Ryan Sirk, our national champion, is in studio today. So we got the gang together today. Take it up to 1 o'clock, and it's hot outside in case you hadn't noticed, Jackson. And so come on out to the Sportsbook here at Casino, Arizona. Tables are filling up already. Have some lunch, have a cool drink, maybe wager on the Diamondbacks-Reds game that's coming up this evening, and just beat the heat a little bit. We're at the Sportsbook till 1 o'clock today, Loop 101 in McKellips. Come on out and see us. Jackson will take a picture with you if you do that.
Oh, yeah. I'll sign babies, sign whatever you want me to do, but yeah, Gross. I was up early this morning watching the British Open. I was up at like 5 a.m.
I picked up my phone. I was like, "What's Jackson doing?"
accidental wake up this morning, but yeah, I mean, it was an eventful third round. It was a low scoring third round for the British Open. Something that was kind of shocking because heading into it, 100% rain. I think it was like 87% humidity was the forecast predicted.
Right.
No rain today. Well, just a little slight rain in the afternoon tee times, but or early morning tee times for us here in America. But I mean, Brian Hartman's still in the lead at 12 under, shooting 2 under through 15. Cameron Young, 7 under finish, 5 under total. But I mean, the ASU product, John Rahm, 8 under today, leads. Now he's at 6 under, tied for third, heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, how'd Rory do?
Rory McIlroy finished 2 under today, 3 under overall. Had a bunch of birdie opportunities. He just could not get it going on the putter-wise. But, I mean, hey, 1 bogey, 3 birdies out of Rory. We'll see what he can do tomorrow. Down 9 strokes.
And I do care, but we have our picks posted at Fox 910 Saturday, and that was one of mine. So, you know, I'm selfish when it comes to this. Bragging rights and whatnot.
I got Tommy Fleetwood, who's at 5 under right now. He's even today through 15. But I think the shocker, my first overall pick, Scotty Scheffler. What the hell are you doing? Worst putter in the tournament by far. He's 4 over, shot 1 over today. I believe he ranks 175th out of 176 when it comes to putting for the Open.
Right.
Brutal.
But check it out, as I said, on Twitter at Fox 910 Saturday, and you can see our picks. Jackson doing a great job updating it after every round. So we'll see where we're at. All I know is if this were real money involved, I'd be in trouble looking at my guys. Tied for 11th, tied for 61, tied for 61. I mean, not pretty. Hey, lots to get to on the show today. Obviously, we will still focus on those Arizona Diamondbacks. I know Jackson has the updated numbers for us. We've been following it each and every week. We've got Chris Cartman coming up from Sun Devil Source. He was in Las Vegas for the Pac-12 for now media day. And we'll talk to him about the media poll for football that was released, as well as his observations for Kenny Dillingham's first visit at the Pac-12 Media Day. Of course, Casey from the Sportsbook here at Casino, Arizona. Casey.
From Boston
will join us in our second hour. We'll make our picks. College football, Jackson, we'll get into not only the Pac-12, but we'll do our first in our weekly look at the win totals across the Power 5 conferences, and we'll start with the ACC today as college football right around the corner.
Yeah, I'm excited. The ACC, I'm assuming we're going alphabetical order is what you were the boss of the show, decided with the ACC. But I think the ACC is really interesting this year. You got teams like Clemson and Florida State kind of at the top. You got other teams like North Carolina. Can Miami turn it around with Mario Cristobal? That's a guy that could be on the hot seat. I know it's his second year, but you expect
expectations there.
A ton of expectations. Leaving a program like Oregon that was in good hands, and you left Oregon to go to Miami to hopefully change it, your alma mater, and I believe they didn't even make the bowl game last year.
Yeah, the other thing that's odd when you look at the ACC, one of the first questions you have to ask when you're looking at teams and you're looking at the win totals for the year, where does Notre Dame slot in here? Do you play Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame should be good again this year.
Well, they're not in the ACC this year, though.
But they're playing a modified ACC schedule still.
Yeah, but they're not.
No, I understand that. But I'm saying when you look at these teams and you say, hey, I think, hey, here's a win total of whatever for a particular team, you're like, yeah, but they've got Notre Dame in the mix. When you look at that schedule, that's something that you got to factor in when you look at these teams. I know they're not in the conference, and they're not going to join the ACC as a full-time member. If they join anything, they're joining the Big Ten. But they've resisted that up until this point. We'll see what happens. So we'll look at the ACC later on, and then, as I said, lots of Diamondback talking. And I don't know, do you have those updated numbers that you've been following for us throughout the course of the stretch run here?
Yeah, so just for fans out there, spectators and listeners, July 8th, 2 weeks ago, the D-backs were favored to win. Sorry, they were second favored to win the NL West at plus 460. Well, folks, it's gone up tremendously. They're now plus 1,000 to win the NL West. In terms of Corbin Carroll, he's plus 5,000 to win the NL MVP. And to put in perspective, a month ago, he was plus 500 to win NL MVP. And then when it comes to Corbin Carroll, once again, for the NL Rookie of the Year, he's at minus 750, which is good. I mean, last week he was at minus 360, so he continues to, show his worth at that rookie position. But, I mean, Ellie De La Cruz, you still can't count him out when it comes to the Rookie of the Year. We'll see how he does in the second half of the season. And then lastly, Gallen, Cy Young Award winner, plus 240. And just last week, he was at plus 220.
All right, there we go. We'll keep an eye on that every week. And the other thing we do each and every week on the show here as we count down to college football, Jackson Groff, is remind you that we are 35 days away from kickoff between Notre Dame and Navy. Their first game out of the chute this year. They play in Dublin. So 35 days from right now when we're starting this show, all these TVs will have live college football that counts right here at the CAZ Sportsbook at Casino, Arizona. But as we do each and every week, it's time for, used to be the EPL pick of the week, right? But since we've transitioned out of EPL season, they're traveling across the globe playing friendlies right now. We now Ryan Sirk does his MLS pick of the week, and he joins us with that now. Ryan.
Messi! I mean, that's pretty much how this whole segment is going to go, just me ranting and raving about Messi.
Well, I can feel it. You got your Messi jersey on right now?
Yeah, but I got my Messi jersey, just came in the mail a couple days ago, right on time for his debut.
Wow, you paid $200.
No, I got an off-brand one. So
okay, nice.
I don't get paid enough as a producer to get that.
that Messi call there on that goal last night for Miami, that sounded a lot like when Jackson brings on Marco D'Angelo.
It does sound like that, doesn't it?
But I mean, yeah, Ryan, talk about just how incredible Lionel Messi last game, and not only getting the goal, his first goal in his first game, but the game winner.
Yeah, I mean, he lived up to the hype. The stars were out in Miami. LeBron was out there filming. Kim K showed up, Serena Williams, and the hype was already unreal. He wasn't necessarily putting on a clinic. He hadn't scored. They were tied, and then last play of the game, last kick really, they set him up with a nice 25, 22-yard free kick, and me being the Messi fan I am, I was like, this has to go in. This is going in. It just fits Messi. It fits the debut, and the hype was real, and obviously a win-in, and I think he's going to do great things for soccer in the U.S. That's just his first game, and he's all over American news.
Well, you are right on with that. He's going to do great things for American soccer. That match last night, the Inter-Miami match, was the most watched American soccer match in USA TV history with over 12.5 million viewers.
Wow. I did not know that. That's a crazy
star
stat.
Power right there.
Yeah, and to see the the IG followers, the Instagram followers just absolutely skyrocket for the Inter Miami page too. But I also wonder, we saw last week or 2 weeks ago, Lionel Messi went grocery shopping just casually, and some people recognize him and some people didn't. And it's kind of cool to see where soccer's now going, Ryan, in America. And I wonder if he's eventually going to get security when he goes out to those places to get grocery store, or he's just wanted to be a normal guy and go to Fry's or go to Bash's and get some tricks or some Lucky Charms.
Yeah, I do wonder how much he planned to be recognized here in the U.S. Maybe he thought, the Americans don't really care too much about soccer. I can just walk around and nobody will know me. But being the status that he is, I'm pretty sure everybody could recognize him on the street.
Now, do you see him in the starting lineup from now until the rest of the season, or do you think he'll come off the bench once again?
Yeah, definitely. I think next game he starts. Soccer teams, they tend to bring guys off the bench when they're well known, just to give them that much more anticipation. Like everybody's watching the first half, and then we're all waiting for Messi in the second half. And then once he comes on, it was electric. So I think from now on he will start. He should.
All right, Ryan, what's the MLS pick of the week from you this week?
So I'm going to continue with the theme. While the GOAT is here and while we continue to hit bets, I was able to win the bet last night of him over a half a goal he scored. So we're going to continue with that. Same kind of theme. I wish he was playing again today. Obviously, that's not how it's going to work. But on Tuesday, Inter Miami is facing off against Atlanta United, and I'm going to take a goal or an assist from the GOAT. That's pretty simple.
All right. There it is. That's our MLS pick of the week from our national champion, Ryan Sirk. We're going to step aside here. On the other side, we jump out to the phones, and we're going to welcome Chris Cartman in, and we'll do a recap of the Pac-12 Media Day that occurred yesterday up in Las Vegas. That's coming up next on Fox Sports 910.
Take
For my friends at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selections. I encourage you to discover the difference at Wright Toyota. Make the right choice, Wright Toyota, just off the 101 on Franklin Wright Boulevard and always online at righttoyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out righttoyota.com.
Join Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B Thursdays at one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. The guys broadcast live from 1 to 5 Valley locations. And tune in at 2:45 for Peaks Picks, your chance to win a Twin Peaks man card. It's Guys Live every Thursday at Twin Peaks.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable, fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring.
30 seconds.
Packing for your summer road trip? Leave the travel guide at home and bring the Autio app along for the ride. Autio brings any drive to life with fascinating stories about the places you go, all narrated by expert storytellers. Browse through Autio's more than 10,000 fascinating location-based tales to inspire your travel itinerary and discover unique destinations along the way. Wherever summer takes you, make your next drive an adventure with Autio, the perfect companion for your next road trip. Learn more at autio.com.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox.
And we're live.
Welcome back. Rolling along on a Saturday, and as promised, we head out to the phone lines. Welcome in again from Send of a Source, friend of the program, Chris Cartman, fresh off Pac-12 Media Days. Chris, it's Mike, and Jackson today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Had a nice time in Vegas. Already back in Phoenix. Ready to roll this week.
There we go. Hey, just big picture wise, a little bit different of a scene. We're in Las Vegas for the media days. A lot of questions, and those of you that were there documented it. The commissioner kicks things off, and it took a minute before we even got to any football-related questions. A lot of focus, a lot of attention, and I think the conference is going to get a lot of scrutiny once this media deal that they're working on is finally released.
I thought it was kind of weird yesterday. You have Kliavkoff talking about not wanting to announce their media rights deal on Pac-12 Media Day because they want to focus on football, but then you get the follow-up question asking if it's a correct inference then that the deal had already done, and he said you're reading too much into it. So you can't announce a deal that isn't done, and I don't think that they're at that point yet. So we're just going to have to wait and see. There's been so many sources and areas where information's kind of come out. I think some of it's been inaccurate. A lot of other perspective is being shaped by people that have different agendas than maybe the conference itself. Mm-hmm. And it's been kind of a mess, at the end of the day. We're going to have to see whether some of these schools are going to be willing to sign the grant of rights if they feel like the deal is not better than what they would be able to get in, let's say, the Big 12.
Fascinating times for the Pac-12 for sure. Let us, though, pivot off of the media rights deal and look at the football season, which is approaching. And the media poll as part of Pac-12 Media Day was released. Southern Cal was pretty much and I won't say the unanimous, but 25 of the first place votes went to the Trojans. 11 other votes distributed between Washington, Utah, and Oregon. Just at first blush, when you look at how the media ranked these teams 1 through 12, Chris, what were your thoughts when you saw the results?
Yeah, I think it made a lot of sense. There were no surprises. My view of it is that you have kind of 3 tiers of the conference. The first tier has USC, Washington, Utah, Oregon, and Oregon State. The second tier includes ASU, Arizona, Washington State, Cal. And then I think that you get to the bottom and you end up with UCLA, I should have said also in the second tier. Then the last tier is really Colorado and Stanford. I think the second tier and the first tier, the ordering of how that will end up looking, it could really kind of depend on a lot of variables. But I think ASU, and I haven't said this really at all in recent years, but I do think that ASU is kind of a sleeper team in the conference. Not that it's going to probably push up and challenge the top 2 or 3 teams. But I just think that the roster overhaul and an 8-game home schedule afford an opportunity if quarterback plays good that ASU could actually end up being a lot better than people realize.
Every year there's a media poll at Media Day. Does it ever mean anything to teams? Is this bulletin board material for ASU to say, hey, they picked us 10th? Is there any practical application to this list?
I don't think so. At the end of the day, the Darius Henderson last year, when he was playing for ASU at Pac-12 Media Day, and ASU was picked at the bottom of the conference, he basically went off and said that the media doesn't know what they're talking about, and they're going to find out that we're a lot better than them, and all these things that ASU had more season maybe ever. So, it's fodder, it's conversation. There is possibly something to the idea that maybe it puts a chip on your shoulder in your off-season workouts and something that you're talking about when you're in the weight room and all that. But once the games are actually played, I think that you kind of are what you are as a team, and no matter how you were voted in the poll, it's not going to change that.
Chris Cartman, SunDevilSource.com, joins us here on Take the Points. And my question to you is, Kenny Dillingham had like a 20-minute interview in front of everybody for Media Day. What would you say is your biggest takeaway, or maybe even something that he said that caught you by surprise during that interview?
Nothing really by surprise. I think that he's been extremely transparent with media. There's been great access to him. And so, we had 20 minutes with him just the other day. I have a pretty good relationship with him personally. So he has just a exuberance, right? He's the youngest coach in the country. And the thing that I'm always struck by with him is just how excited that he is, how much that this opportunity means to him. You know that you're going to get 100% plus of his effort, everything that he has to give, and maybe even too much at times. And he's just, I think, out there begging for support, begging for people to be interested in the program, to support via NIL or donations, and the importance of the Rally the Valley message that he has. At every single opportunity that he says it, I just am struck by how much that he wants to work, and I think that a lot of fans are basically still going to be wait and see because they've been hurt so much by following ASU football and ASU sports in general.
We're talking Pac-12 Media Day with Chris Cartman from Sun Devil Source, and one of the other stories kind of looming over the conference is that this will be the final football media day with USC and UCLA. Did that color the event at all yesterday? Was that a sub-story, subplot, whatever the right word might be at all, Chris, as you were part of that yesterday?
Not so much. I think that last year's media day, which closely followed the reporting that USC and UCLA would be leaving, had a lot more of that sort of vibe and feel and questions around it. I think people at this point are kind of more in the media resigned to, okay, that's happening. That's already done. We all know that. And it wasn't nearly as much of a focus as, okay, who might replace UCLA or USC? What might happen with the conference? Will it be able to stay together? What will it look like in its next iteration? And things of that nature. And the Lincoln Riley was asked, whether there's a melancholy feeling about this kind of being the end. And he's only been at USC for, a very brief period. So he didn't really seem to have that sort of a sentiment or anything like that. Chip Kelly gave a history lesson that was, I thought, very interesting about how, college football has really always been in flux all the way back to the 1890s. There's been all kinds of movement and changes and transfers and all this stuff. And we like to talk about all these things as being novel and different and unique and whatever. And he says, look, this is kind of always the way that it's been. You have to be able to adjust and adapt with the times. And I thought that was actually quite sage sort of wisdom that he provided.
Taking a look at the days ahead, college football is right around the corner in terms of games that count. But what does the process look like in the next few weeks, months for the Sun Devils when it comes to the team, and then specifically when it comes to Coach Kenny Dillingham figuring out who's going to be under center for this team?
Yeah, so they have 3 media events in this coming week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're going to have access to like 20-plus players and all the assistant coaches. I think that they want to really do as much as they can to sort of promote that this is a new era, and they're trying to get as much access to the program as possible. Their practice availability is better than probably anyone in the Pac-12, if not in the country. We're going to be able to watch 2 hours of all of their preseason camp practices, which start on July 31st. They're going to use all their practices. They're going to be outside because they want to sort of use the heat here as an advantage when they have an 8-game home schedule and some of these big early games. So I just think that the competition and understanding how physical and intense and all this stuff that they're trying to be to compete with these top teams is paramount. And the quarterback position, of course, is the most important. This Pac-12 is maybe as good as it's ever been at quarterback. You have Heisman Trophy candidates at multiple schools. You have others that have led the conference to championships, and then a bunch of guys who have put up big numbers. There were 7 quarterbacks at Pac-12 Media Day. And if ASU is going to outperform this expectations, they're going to have to get good play from that position. And really, I expect a very close battle between Trent Bourget and Drew Pine. I thought Bourget looked a little bit better in the spring, but Pine had more of an adjustment to personnel and scheme. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to whether or not Bourget can show better downfield potency in the passing game, hit on some of these big shots with his arm talent, or if Drew Pine is able to increase his progression reading and completion percentage and take fewer negative plays and keep the ball moving more. I think those are the 2 sort of things that we're going to be watching. But either one of them, they have a lot of similarities. They're smart. They're good leaders. I think that they're cerebral guys. ASU should be pretty good with either one of them. But to be able to get to that, top 4, top 5 of the conference, you're going to have great play at that position. And I don't know if they're going to get that.
I want to ask your opinion, Chris, about the other team in Arizona, the Wildcats. One of the big storylines from Media Day yesterday was the whole Delora situation going on, and Fish's opinion, and Delora not be able to speak on that. Just being in the room when that happened, kind of just walk us through, I guess, just the atmosphere in that. And do you think this is something that maybe could get brought up during the season, or is it kind of going away? Or what's your thoughts about the whole Delora situation going on right now?
Well, yeah, it's a very sensitive subject. The fact that a lot of this stuff happened some years ago, and with minors, and the case being sort of difficult to understand some of the variables or the particulars about based upon the fact that it happened at that time when these were all like under 18 people, or some of them. And his statement, I thought was it was well crafted in terms of talking about the fact that this was sort of a legally settled matter that he's not going to be able to comment on specifically into the future. I think that sort of sets a clear thing that's going to prevent this from really leading to a lot more information or perspective from Arizona. They made a decision that they're going to stick with Jaden Delora based upon the information that they have. And barring some, I think, surprising developments, even though this will come up from time to time, I don't think that we're going to get much of a change in the status of the situation.
He's Chris Cartman, publisher at SunDevilSource.com. Does a great job covering the Devils. Always good with his time with us. Chris, thanks so much for your time. We'll do it again soon.
My pleasure. Appreciate it.
Good stuff from Chris right there. On the other side, guys, we're going to jump into it. The media polls out. Thoughts on ASU, you to the conference. That's coming up next on Fox Sports 910.
Take the points.
All clear.
Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the
I love it.
radio app.
See your Valley Chevy dealers today.
Might just play Morgan Wall.
Summer drive going on now. New inventory is arriving daily. Don't miss your chance for some great deals this summer. See your Valley Chevy dealers for the best deals and the best selection during the Chevy Summer Drive today.
Shopping for a mortgage? Big banks can be a big hassle. Call GC Global Capital and work with a local team of mortgage experts for great rates and lower fees, more options, and faster closings. Don't let your dream home purchase turn into a nightmare. Call the professionals at GC Global Capital, 480-397-9300. GC Global Capital, your local mortgage professionals.
GC Global Capital is an Arizona licensed mortgage broker. NMLS 1091187. License MB 0924983. An equal opportunity lender.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, sports fans, celebrate every big game with El Bandito Yankee, an ultra-premium tequila made from 100% Blue Weber agave in the highlands of Jalisco. Their certified additive-free Blanco and Reposado features a unique oxygenation process for a rich smoothness without that tequila burn. It's why they won platinum and gold medals and are now listed as one of the world's top tequilas by Rolling Stone. Head over to your local store, favorite bar, or restaurant in all 7 Barrio Queen locations. Go to elbanditoyankee.com and break out the Bandito with the official tequila of game day.
Golfers, swing into Van's Golf Shops. We've been serving golfers since 1963. Let us help you find the hottest gear from bags, balls, shoes, and apparel. All in stock at the best prices. Come in and test drive the latest arrivals from Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, and more. While you're there, get custom fit by one of our golf experts. Van's Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at vansgolfshops.com.
Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4 as Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B broadcasts live from the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. The Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise. That's the guys, live every Monday from CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites.
Any car dealer in Arizona can compete on price. That's what dealers do. But not many dealers can compete on customer satisfaction. Like Wright Toyota. Make the right choice. Wright Toyota in Scottsdale, just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and online at wrighttoyota.com.
Do you have heart?
1 minute.
And often hear
those stomach issues ruined your birthday. You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa? Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you hungry for the inside scoop of women's soccer? I'm Sam Mewis.
30 seconds.
And I'm Lynn Williams. And we're professional
Let's be honest, I don't think
players,
that's right.
friends, and the hosts of Snacks, the only women's soccer podcast hosted by active players that gets into the most recent
talk about snacks
and fun of the NWSL, the women's national team, and the delightful, delicious world of snacks. It's a weekly show that features great guests from the world of women's soccer, recaps and previews of the biggest matches, and the two of us hanging out with you. You can listen to Snacks on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 9.
And you're live.
Yeah. Get up. Yes, here we go again. Give you more, nothing lesser. Back on the mic.
You know, I'm happy to hear this. This is from the Wayback Machine.
It's great. You picked this song. It's tremendous. Well done, sir.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Hey, thanks
Way
again
better
to
than
Chris
last segment.
Hartman from Sun Devil Source, always bringing the information. Pac-12 Media Day concluding yesterday up in Las Vegas. Nice touch being up there in Las Vegas, and the commissioner, after he was dodging questions about the media deal, said, hey, I think we're going to do more things in Vegas. So that's actually, I think, a good outcome from there. And as I said, we will hold our breath and wait and see what happens once that media deal is finally announced. But I think Chris is right, and he kind of alluded to it. They've got people waiting on the sidelines, no matter what it is, ready to pounce and criticize the Pac-12. So much pressure on them. But that's a topic for another day, fellas. Football right around the corner. And Jackson, media poll released. And the question is, all right, it's media. It's just, hey, they need clicks for Twitter and websites, and nobody pays attention. Like the players in the locker room, they're worried about getting ready for the season. Players in the locker room, Jackson, do not care about a media poll at the start of football season. True or false?
False. People look at it. And people, like, publicly, the coaches are permitted to tell the players, and you have meetings about this with your own media rep and stuff like that. The communications guy saying, hey, they're going to ask you about this, this, and this. Respond. Hey, we're here to play football. We don't look at the media poll. We don't care. That's bulletin material. That's BS.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 23-year-old. These are 20-year-old kids who are on social media all the time and want to know how others see their season going. If I'm Arizona State, use this as motivation. You're picked 10th. And most of that is because of the question marks that you have at quarterback and a new head coach and just overall program. It's bulletin board for Arizona State, and use it to your success. Use it as a benefit.
And Bauer, the other thing, you've been doing this whole media thing, radio shows up and down the dial for a while here. You got to have something to talk about. We're sitting here the third or fourth Saturday in July. It's 100 and whatever outside today. We can only talk so much baseball and whatever. You got to have these things. It's great for getting us ready and priming the pump for college football season.
Well, if you look at the quote unquote headlines, I guess, coming out of the Pac-12 Media days in Vegas now, is no Deion Sanders. And man, they have a lot of quarterbacks that are really good. And dear God, where is your TV contract? And for the love of God, are you going to actually be a conference in a few years?
All legitimate.
So in terms of looking at the Pac-12 media poll, that's actually good, because now we get to focus on, the football. We can actually look and go, wow, USC with Caleb Williams, potentially future Arizona Cardinal, very good.
Yeah.
Michael Penix, Bo Nix. There's some really good quarterbacks in this conference, and there's good football players in this conference every single year, even when USC and UCLA flee to the Big Ten. There's still really good football, and looking at, even though it's just a media list, at least we get to talk about football.
And they know what they're talking about, the media. They follow. Like guys like Chris Cartman, when you bring him on, he knows what he's talking about. Yep. And so when they do these polls, they're not that far off. During the break, we looked up the 2022 Pac-12 media poll.
Okay.
Guess what?
2022.
Colorado was picked to be the worst team in the conference.
Well, that
Guess
was
what? They were, right? ASU was picked 10th. Guess what? They finished 10th. Stanford, they underperformed a little bit. Arizona overperformed a little bit. Who else? Jackson, Washington. They finished tied for second.
Oregon State performed
well. So there was a few variations there, but for the most part, the media gets it close as we look at it. So it's not some pie in the sky assessment when you go out and look at it. This is kind of a science to it almost.
And when you look at the odds for who's going to win the Pac-12, obviously USC is at the top at plus 200, followed by Oregon and Washington at plus 310. And I think the bet that I'm probably going to possibly cash in, two teams that I think are being slept on, obviously being Utah, the defending champs. I think they're super slept on. I think they got the best defense in the conference.
Right.
And then Oregon State. Oregon State got a lot of guys coming back from last year. They got their top running back and receivers. And they also got DJ Ungalele.
Bless you.
Thank you. From Clemson. And we've seen transfer quarterbacks. Yes, he didn't really have a good year at Clemson, that have left their respected team and go to a different team and just perform out of their mind, like Michael Penix, Bo Nix, who are also in the Pac-12.
You know what?
Uiagalelei wasn't that great, though.
That's what I'm saying. Bo Nix was.
The other thing, too, and you hear this term a lot, which I don't typically buy into, the East Coast bias, right? But I think there's two schools in this conference that might as well be, in Siberia, and that's Oregon State and Washington State. And I think Oregon State, I 100% agree with you on your assessment of Oregon State, Jackson. I think this is a team with a lot of returnees. I think this is a team that was on the come last year when you look at how they finished. And I think this is a team that is going to make some noise down the stretch this year. I'm really intrigued by Oregon State. But like I said, they get absolutely no attention. They're about an hour tops away from the University of Oregon in Eugene. But like I said, it might as well be in Siberia for the lack of attention that they get in Corvallis.
I'm looking at their depth chart right now, and they've got 7 seniors starting on defense and 6 or 7 on offense. And they've got a ton of juniors and only 2 sophomores starting. So that tells me they got a ton of experience, a ton of strength, a ton of power over there for the Oregon State Beavers.
All right, we're not going to do our deep dive into the Pac-12 till right before the season starts. But, guys, when you look at this media poll from this year, one school that you think that contrary to what I just said a minute ago, one thing that the media just completely missed on, you look at this and say, you know what, they are way off the mark on this team. Jackson?
I'm going to say UCLA at 6. I think with the question mark at quarterback there, I would have put Arizona at 6 over UCLA because of Arizona's establishment at quarterback with DeLaura. They've got Cowling on the outside. They've got James Morgan, first team all offensive lineman for the Pac-12. And they've got Justin Flo on defense, a linebacker that was a 5-star. People don't remember him from Oregon transferring to Arizona. So I would flip Arizona and UCLA.
Bauer, before we get
that is the driver of the Arizona Wildcats bandwagon.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we get to your thought, Bauer, we're sitting here setting up for the show, Jackson and I, and some guy walks up and says, hey, what do you guys think of the Arizona Wildcats this year? And this guy next to me,
oh my God,
good Lord, he just was like gushing all over him.
Wait a sec. Did you see Jackson go outside and give that guy a $5 beforehand?
Yeah, right.
Be like, hey, buddy, I need you to come in and ask me about the Wildcats.
He could have been one of your college buddies.
Yeah, is that one of your guys?
Definitely not.
All right, who did the media miss on, Bauer, as far as you're concerned? They're either too high or too low.
All right, look, USC, Washington, Utah. These 3 teams are pretty much the class of the conference. Utah's always there. Utah's just such a tough out. I can't knock them. Washington with Penix, another transfer quarterback with your Bo Nix and your Uiagalelei. He's been there. Some injuries over times. Washington, I think, really is a good number 2 team. But I mean, hey, maybe I'm just kind of riding what Chris Cartman was saying. But I'm hoping that Arizona State is better than the 10th team in this conference because there's some teams that they should, talent-wise, should be ahead of, namely in Cal and Washington State. And I'm looking at them hopefully more at the 8th spot in the conference. I'm not saying they're going to win the whole darn thing, but Jackson, I'm with you too on UCLA. I'm not sold on UCLA either. So I could see maybe an opportunity. I think I was very, very pleased to see Colorado at 11 or 12. Either way, I didn't want to see the media, whose job it is to cover this conference, buy into all the fandom going around the fact that Deion Sanders is there in Colorado. They still have a long way to go.
Well, and I think the point, for me, if I'm CU, the administration there, right? The key to Deion Sanders in year 1 and even year 2 is not going to translate into wins on the football field. Already the hire of Deion Sanders has more than paid for itself. But I think you make a good point. You don't turn the Titanic around on a dime here, right? You can't overhaul a college football roster.
Maybe too soon for Titanic references.
Perhaps, but you can't. You can't overhaul a college football roster on a dime like that.
No.
It takes a year or 2.
Even though he did, I mean, he tried, and he literally walked in and said, "A bunch of y'all ain't going to be here."
Right. So the roster is going to look different and maybe better, and it couldn't be worse for Colorado. Let's be honest.
For God's sakes, no.
But again, this is going to take a year or 2. But he's already paid for himself in terms of what he's meant to the profile of this Colorado University of Colorado football team. Where I'll go with where did the media maybe miss a little bit? I'm going to go back to, and not to copy you, Jackson, but that Oregon State point. I think, and they are 5th, so it's not like they were down in the 7, 8, 9 range. They're 5th. I think they finished higher than 5th this year. I really do. I think, again, this is a team that's flying under the radar. And to your point, Jackson, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They realize that too. I'm not going to use the word disrespect, but it's more along the lines of, hey, what about us? What about us? And, with transfers and people moving around, I get it. I don't mind the transfer portal. I don't mind the impact that's had on college football. But I do think that when you can point to a roster and say, look, we've recruited these kids and they've been in our program for a number of years, they've stuck with us, and now they're juniors and seniors that are playing meaningful minutes and contributing, that matters, I think. So keep an eye on Oregon State when we get to it.
Real quick, their over-under total for wins is at 8.5. Just I want to note some of the home games they've got. They've got Utah at home. They go on the road against Colorado. They've got Washington at home. They go on Arizona, and they don't play USC. So they'll play Utah,
How about that?
Washington at home, and Oregon on the road.
All right, on the other side, our first look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Baseball season heading into the home stretch, and Diamondbacks had an interesting week, I guess, to say the least. We'll break that down coming up on the other side right here on Fox Sports 910.
Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app. With inflation compensation, you can win $1,000. Listen at the top of the hour weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the keyword to enter at foxsports910.com. Sponsored by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorneys.
Hey, Arizona, it's your local accident attorney, Kevin Rowe. Results matter, so we want to help you win $1,000, powered by Lerner & Rowe Accident Attorneys, where we treat you like family. In a wreck, need a check? Call Lerner & Rowe today at 977-1900.
Any car dealer in Arizona can compete on price. That's what dealers do. But not many dealers can compete on customer satisfaction. Like Wright Toyota. Make the right choice. Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. Just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. And online at wrighttoyota.com.
Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4 as Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B broadcasts live from the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. The Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise. That's the guys live every Monday from CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona.
What are you doing for dinner tonight? Venezia's Pizzeria has a summer of savings deal you don't want to miss. Get an extra large one-item pizza for $13.99. That's more than a 17% savings. Yes, an extra large one-item pizza for only $13.99. Order online, with the app, or when you visit any one of our 6 Valley locations. Just use the code SOS when you order. Available for dine-in, to-go, and even delivery. Order now. Venezias.com. Limit of 5 per order.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe, here to tell you the biggest thing I've learned about insurance companies over the years, and it's really simple. They don't care about you. That's it. Insurance companies are publicly traded companies who have an obligation to their shareholders to deliver profits. They have teams of investigators, adjusters, and lawyers all working against you from the moment you call them, and they want to pay you as little as possible for your injuries. Hurt in a wreck? Don't be a victim of the insurance companies. Call Lerner & Rowe today.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Join Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B Thursdays at one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. The guys broadcast live from 1 to 5 Valley locations. And tune in at 2:45 for Peaks Picks, your chance to win a Twin Peaks man card. It's Guys Live every Thursday at Twin Peaks.
We're your neighbors. You should stop by for a visit. We're Casino, Arizona. Come on in. Our slots are spinning, our dealers are dealing, and everyone's yelling bingo. Isn't it about time you see your friends again? So stop by to say hello. Stay a while. Relax. Enjoy yourself. We'd love to see you again. Hey, this place was made to entertain. We're your Casino, Arizona.
See your Valley Chevy dealers today during the Chevy Summer Drive going on now. New inventory is arriving daily. Don't miss your chance for some great deals this summer. See your Valley Chevy dealers for the best deals and the best selection during the Chevy Summer Drive today.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or apply stopped, opt out. Go to nomoredraftyWindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass. Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text DOOR to 200-300 for your free consultation on windows or patio doors. Down, zero payment for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text DOOR to 200-300 right now. Text the word
Here we go.
to 200-300. Don't wait. Text DOOR to 200-300.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino,
DJ
Arizona,
Ryan.
exclusively on Fox
And
Sports 910.
you're live.
Mike Bauer, Mike Gross, Jackson Groff out here at the CAZ Sportsbook, Casino, Arizona. Ryan Cirk back in studio. And guys, our first look at the Arizona Diamondbacks as they had a really weird week for them. They take 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, which the way they had been playing was kind of surprising, I guess. But unfortunately, they couldn't make up any ground in the National League West. And Jackson, at the outset of the show, you brought it up as to the number attached to this Arizona Diamondbacks team and their chances of winning the National League West.
Yeah, just a week ago, they were at plus 700 to win the NL West, and now the odds have gone up tremendously. They are now plus 1,000, and just a month ago, they were as low as plus 440 to win the NL West.
So what you're telling me is that's great value. Great value for the local 9.
Or is it time to panic? Time to press that panic button.
Well, it is that time of the year with the trade deadline right around the corner where a lot of teams either press the panic button or, either you're buyers or sellers, right? And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, I think almost unequivocally, this is a team that is a buyer at the trade deadline. I just want to go back to this past weekend in Atlanta, because you mentioned that D-backs won the first 2. They had an opportunity to possibly sweep the series and were in position to do so with Zach Gallen out-dueling Spencer Strider in a matchup of 2 of the best pitchers on the planet. And then the bullpen faltered. Castro, Nelson, they gave up 4 runs coming out of the bullpen, tagged to those guys. Atlanta scores 2 in the 7th, 4 in the 8th. In that matchup, and not to turn our attention from what happened in Cincinnati yesterday, but that matchup in Atlanta, that's 2 of the best teams. Yes, Cincinnati's very good, but Atlanta is arguably, if not the best team in baseball. Yeah. Or one of the best teams in baseball. So to me, to go in and have the opportunity to possibly sweep them in the dirty, and then you walk away with a very unfortunate flight to Cincinnati. For the Diamondbacks, you look at that and you go, wow, we maybe we do need to make a big change in the bullpen.
Yeah, you win 2 out of 3 and you feel bad about it, which is really, really an odd feeling after game 3 of that series. And
you win 2 out of 3 and then you lose the Gallen game.
Our Twitter poll question of the week is and you can find us at Fox 910 Saturday. As that trade deadline approaches, what do you think the Diamondbacks front office must address? And our listeners think it's overwhelmingly starting pitching. 59% of the voters said starting pitching. A mere 5% said they need to add another bat. And to the point you're making, Bauer, just 36% of the respondents said that it would be the bullpen that they would address. I don't know if you said it explicitly, but when you see what you saw game 3 Thursday afternoon in Atlanta, if I hadn't voted already, I would have voted for bullpen, because you get great starting efforts, and to see it wasted, I think it's a kick in the gut.
I'm not saying this out of hyperbole by any means. I mean, this has been the team's approach going into the season. In spring training, Torey Lovello, the skipper, said, and the front office said, so I'm going to echo that statement, this is a team without a closer. They have said, we are going bullpen closer by committee. That's the plan. Now, if you Google Arizona Diamondbacks depth chart, they have to fill out the closer spot in their little table. So the D-backs have a closer on the internet, but they don't have a closer. And they have said so themselves numerous times. If this is a team that really wants to make some noise down the stretch into the playoffs, a closer and adding a starter, to me, are things that you look at doing. Zach Davies on the IL. Merrill Kelly hopefully coming off the IL very soon. Zach Gallen, Tommy Henry, and Ryan Nelson are your only 3 healthy starters. Brandon Pfaadt was called up today to kind of ping-pong around in this discussion. I want to get your thoughts, guys, on the fact that there's a report out of a tremendous baseball reporter, diehard hockey fan. He's a big Red Wings guy. You probably appreciate that, Grosser. John Paul Morosi, JP Morosi, says the Dodgers aren't the only NL team pursuing White Sox starter Lucas Giolito. Sources say the Diamondbacks have inquired about Giolito as well.
It'll be interesting to see, and whether it's Giolito, Eduardo Rodriguez, any of these guys that are available, to get in a bidding war with the Dodgers, I think is something that the Diamondbacks can do if they're willing to make that commitment. But we know that throughout the years, they've, I think, overused the word or the phrase or the thought process untouchable when it comes to their farm system and their prospect. I understand you can have onesie twosies in that list, right? But I think
that's a very technical term.
If you look at the Diamondbacks, if we could get in on their whiteboard right now and see what they've got, their untouchable list is probably as big as any in Major League Baseball. I get it, but I don't like it. The Diamondbacks right now are 3 back of the Los Angeles Dodgers and find themselves in the wild card mix along with the Giants, the Phillies, and the Reds and the Marlins. And here's the thing: you got to address pitching if you're gonna find yourself in the wild card, because you lose a lot of flexibility if you don't win the National League West. We'll talk more about the Diamondbacks on the other side, plus more college football. Maybe we'll have a Rock and Manuch lager by the good folks at Hess here at the Sportsbook at Casino Arizona.
Okay.
All that and more from Casino Arizona right here on Fox Sports 910.
All clear.
Rock for RightToyota.com. At Right Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on RightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at RightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at RightToyota.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings, bone and breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice. That's out of here. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Introducing new frozen lemonade Starbucks Refreshers beverages. Try one of 3 blends of sweet fruit flavors, real fruit pieces, and lemonade to savor every sip of summer. Order yours in the Starbucks app.
It pays to listen. Open your free iHeartRadio app and listen to this station to be entered to win $5,000. Each day you come back to listen on the iHeartRadio app is another entry. The more you listen, the more chances you have to win. Download the free iHeartRadio app for access to winning like never before.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Monday from 10 to 1. This is KGME Phoenix, KESC HD2 Phoenix, an iHeart radio station.
Hello.
This is Weather Center.
Also, I'm going to be on Rock and Manooch on Thursday.
Clouds to start out our day. We're going to
So I'll need your help again.
skies, but a hot one at about 115 degrees. Overnight, a slim chance for a thunderstorm.
Perfect. We got 30 seconds.
That chance at 20%. The same 20% possibility for your Sunday, the high 114. For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Corey McCloskey.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. With the Chalupa Supreme Beefy 5-layer burrito, crunchy taco, cinnamon twist, and medium drink, Taco Bell's $5 Cravings box is packed as ever. And $5 as ever. Get one at Taco Bell stores. For a limited time, also has asked. Contact store for price and participation which vary. Drinks exclude freezes. Tax extra.
Time for Arizona's only local sports gambling radio show. Take the Points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the Points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
Hour number 2. Mike Bauer, Mike Gross, Jackson Groff coming to you from the CAZ Sportsbook here at Casino, Arizona, Loop 101 in McKellips. Nice little crowd here in the Sportsbook. We got a couple baseball games going on. Looks like auto racing getting started. And Jackson, I believe the Open just concluded. Is that I see you feverishly working on our next update.
Yes, it has concluded. Brian Harmon still in the lead at 12 under, -2 on today. And his current betting odds, -200 to win the not the U.S. Open, the British Open.
The Open Championship.
The Open Championship, indeed. And I look forward, and for those of you that may have missed us at the start of the show, we had a draft of, four golfers each. And
big day for Bauer.
Why are you giggling there?
After 3 rounds, I forget how we're going to determine the winner.
Total money won.
I think I'm last place because Morikawa got cut. At least you got 4 golfers in there, but
yeah, but you got somebody tied for 4th.
That is true.
He's going to win more than tied for 63rd, tied for 24th, tied for 69th combined.
So let's give our listeners a little update.
So here we go. After the third round, and again, you can see all of this at Fox 910 on Fox 910 Saturday.
And we picked these teams Wednesday night.
We had a draft.
Texting. We all threw in a couple bucks and stuff like that. So so we're being honest to each other
And I don't even know, like in order. I guess Bauer, you would be.
Well, Gross, you started. I mean,
I'm looking at the standings
right
now. Yeah, looking at the standings. Because you've got John Rahm. What he's tied, or he's third, sole possession of third.
Well, I mean, he did set a course record with a 63 today, but breaking the course record by 2 strokes. Go Devils!
And Jackson, and you've got Victor Hovland as well, who's tied for 4th.
Victor,
and Jackson's got Tommy Fleetwood. Bauer's got 2 in the single digits if you look at the standings. I'm not kidding. Tied for 63rd, tied for 24th, tied for 69th is mine.
Let me read the teams because people out there are
just they don't want to hear me vent.
Confused.
They don't want to hear me vent.
Very confused.
Because I'm venting.
Mike Gross's team, he picked Rory McIlroy first. He's tied for 11th right now. Brooks Koepka tied for 63rd. Ricky Fowler tied for 24th. And Robbie McIntyre tied for 69th.
Why did you pick him?
You picked him.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Why did I?
Who's saying that to himself?
I got you. And
it's probably because he had a wonderful Scottish Open, and that's understandable.
He's a links player.
He came in second. He's a Scot. He knows how to play.
Good Lord.
I got you.
All right,
he also just lost to Rory.
My team, well, the reason why we're going to lose this is because of Scotty Scheffler. He's tied 63rd at 4 over. That was my first overall pick. Then I went Tommy Fleetwood, who's tied for 4th. Tyrell Hatton tied for 24th. And then Morikawa missed the cut. So now I've got 3 players, and I got 1 that's close to last place. For Mike Bauer, big day for him.
Thank
Rahm,
goodness. Needed
3rd
it.
place. Cam Smith tied for 24th. Hovland tied for 4th. And Xander Schauffele tied for 24th.
Yeah. And
looks like that's if that holds, Bauer will take away the crown and all the spoils that go with it.
There's also, there's a handful of really, really good golfers that didn't even make it to the weekend. You look at a guy like Colin Morikawa, he missed the weekend. You look at, and I know you mentioned that, but one of the better young players on the planet right now, Sahith Theegala, he misses the weekend. Tony Finau, Justin Rose, a former, a major winner. Nick Taylor just won in in Canada. He misses the cut. Sam Burns, he's won earlier this year. No surprise that some of the older farts didn't make the cut with Ernie Els and John Daly.
John Daly missed it?
He did, I know, shocking. But what's more shocking is Justin Thomas missed the cut at plus 11, had an absolutely horrendous couple days, including putting up a 9 on 18 in the first round. This course has eaten up some guys, and that's including Justin Thomas.
I was going to ask you, Bauer, because you host, obviously, Backspin the Golf Show right before this show. What's going on with Justin Thomas? I believe he's missed 3 out of 4 cuts for the majors. Is that correct?
Yeah, he has not had a great run this year. He is struggling. He's absolutely struggling. It's not like he's got the yips or the shanks or any of those kind of swear words that we don't want to say in the world of golf. But Justin is struggling, and he is on the verge of losing a spot.
I was about to say
in the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup later this year at Marco Simone, just outside of Rome. And you look in traditionally, historically, what he's done in the equity of his career. JT, a 30-year-old who's one of the best golfers on the planet, has been playing really, really piss poor golf this season. And in terms of his production, does not deserve a spot. And to be quite honest, if Brian Harman wins the Open, which he should, he's leading by a whole bunch here. He's leading by 5 strokes heading into the final day. That is a spot that it would be very hard to say, look, I'm not gonna leave a Brian Harman off or a Wyndham Clark, guys who just won majors and fly the flag of the US of A, to bring in a JT who's playing terrible golf. It's a tough decision. Going to be a really tough decision.
You know what's interesting about this, though, where you can have a conversation on a non-golf show about golf, and it's fueled. We're called Take the Points, right? It's fueled by the fact that, as part of what we did after we had our draft, you can go on to whatever your favorite wagering site is, and you can put a few bucks down on whoever you pick to back it up and have a little fun and follow it. I think we've talked a lot about this, right, throughout, whether it's football, even into hockey and baseball seasons, which are tough sports sometimes due to the length of the season to keep the interest up in. But every week, Jackson, you provide the updated baseball odds, and I think same thing for the Open.
I mean,
to be able to have these conversations.
I bet yesterday on 2 different soccer games. I do not watch. Ryan, apologies to our national champion Ryan back in the studio. I do not watch or enjoy watching soccer at all whatsoever, but I placed multiple wagers on soccer yesterday, and I won one and lost one. Thanks a lot, Alex Morgan, you bum. But still, it really is, coming here to the CAZ Sportsbook, walking up to the window, going up to the kiosk, putting down, whether it's $2 or $200. Now all of a sudden you've got a rooting interest in. All right, I was very intently watching to see who was going to score the first goal in the U.S. versus Vietnam game yesterday because my fiance had a bet on it as well.
When you talk about random sports to bet on and different leagues getting more attention, there's probably no league that's been getting more attention because of gambling than the WNBA right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when
I thought you were going to say slam ball, but okay.
No, slam ball would be insane to bet
back,
on.
Baby.
But WNBA, I mean, I think the ratings have gone up like 40 or 50%. We talked to Casey earlier this week about it too, and he said there's a lot of people coming in placing bets on unders for WNBA for either win totals or points or whatever. But man, I mean, it's a desperate time for sports bettors like ourselves to try to figure out what we can place money on.
35 days till college football's here, Jackson. Just keep that number in your brain. 35 days. The countdown is on. I'm not a math guy, but that feels like 5 weeks.
So what you're saying is the window for other sports to shine is closing very soon.
It is. And if you want to bust through that, it is definitely shutting down. Hey, still to come on the show, we're going to get into week by week. We'll look at the Power 5 conferences and at the ACC. You talk about conferences that have been, because there's a lot, right? You talk about the actual games, whether in this case football that are being played, but the changing landscape of college football is a big part of it. And when we had Chris Cartman on earlier, we talked about the Pac-12 media days, and before they got to football, the commissioner was getting drilled over and over and over again about, hey, what's the future of this conference? What's your media rights deal? ACC's kind of in that boat where you see the SEC's done some things. Obviously, the Big 12 has been super aggressive. The Big 10 bringing on USC and UCLA. The ACC kind of in the same boat I think, but maybe not as much pressure on them as the Pac-12 is, because they've pretty much stood pat in terms of their alignment, and haven't heard a lot of teams angling to get in there. But we'll take a look at the upcoming ACC football season, their win totals. That's coming up next on Fox Sports 910.
Take the points. Powered by the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Wright Toyota. Hey,
right back.
My friends at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selections. I encourage you to discover the difference at Wright Toyota. Make the right choice, Wright Toyota, just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and always online at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out WrightToyota.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. With every other attorney out there claiming to be the right attorney for you, it's time we look at the facts. Lerner & Rowe has helped over 150,000 injured people receive compensation for their injuries. We've recovered billions of dollars, with over $1 billion recovered in the last 5 years alone. We have over 50 attorneys and over 400 legal professionals and their resources to fight for you. The reality is, there's Lerner & Rowe, then there's everybody else. Interact, need a check?
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Golfers, swing into Van's Golf Shops. We've been serving golfers since 1963. Let us help you find the hottest gear from bags, balls, shoes, and apparel. All in stock at the best prices. Come in and test drive the latest arrivals from Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, and more. While you're there, get custom fit by one of our golf experts. Van's Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at vansgolfshops.com.
It's Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing and your sexy status roof guy on Instagram and Facebook. Lesser roofers cut corners, cobbling together patchwork roofs to meet a budget, not State 48 Roofing. Give us a call today for your maintenance, repair, or full replacement needs.
It's the wind down in sparkling water. It's the zone out at the spa. The stunning sunsets at dinner. It's the escape you crave, and it's closer than you think. Talking Stick Resort's summer placation package, starting at $139 a night with no resort fee for Arizona residents. Exclusive spa specials and $25 in free slot play. Plus, enjoy great deals inside the Talking Stick Entertainment District, including Top Golf, Talking Stick Golf Club, Octane Raceway, and more. Summer placation, May 8th to September 15th at Talking Stick Resort. Turn it on.
Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4 as Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B broadcasts live from the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. The Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise. That's the guys, live every Monday from CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona.
See your Valley Chevy dealers today during the Chevy Summer Drive going on now. New inventory is arriving daily. Don't miss your chance for some great deals this summer. See your Valley Chevy dealers for the best deals and the best selection during the Chevy Summer Drive today.
I'm 1 minute. Personal injury attorney. Can you tell by the music that I'm educated and experienced? How about now? Can you tell I'm tough and I'll fight for it?
It sounds like he says Ryan Surf.
That's a bunch of bullshit. When it comes to your personal
That's the only hint I'll give you.
I'm straight to the point. I'll answer your call. No BS. I'm Byron Brown, the anti-lawyer lawyer.
It is not.
Only iHeartRadio gives you access.
I won't be able to play the chorus though, because that's what it sounds like. It's Ryan Surf.
It's Elliot in the morning.
All of the once-in-a-lifetime events.
iHeartRadio Music Festival, yeah!
All of the best free curated playlists, the best bands, all the great podcasts for every interest.
That's the one. I'm playing Baby Shark.
To know all of the mind-blowing content.
Here we go.
$20,000.
All your favorite superstars.
This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Best of all, it doesn't cost a thing. Download the absolutely free iHeartRadio app now.
Back to Take the Points.
I can find it though.
At CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Exclusively on Fox Sports.
And you're live.
Welcome back. Having a great time at the CAZ Sportsbook.
Always.
And it's time take a closer look at the ACC football win totals for the upcoming season. As you can probably tell, we are waiting desperately for college football to get back, but it's getting close. Media days are upon us, and win totals are being published. And we'll start with the ACC, and we'll run through the Power 5 conferences in the coming weeks. And we won't go through every team, guys, in the ACC. Let's take a look, similar to what we did at our quick look at the Pac-12 earlier in the day. A couple teams that, when you look at the ACC, that you're looking and have a thought on, because there's a couple really interesting teams right now in this conference that I think are under quite a bit of pressure. And you look at this conference, and every conference to a certain degree has this, but over the years, if you look at this, it is such a top-heavy conference. Take Clemson out of the conversation. What is the ACC football the last decade or so?
Before we get into looking at the teams, I do want to mention for anybody listening out there, things are going to be a little bit different this year in the ACC. Clemson was a perfect 8-0 in conference, 11-3. They won the Atlantic last year. That doesn't exist this year. There is no Atlantic. There is no Coastal. This is a new era for ACC football. They have set it up so now it's essentially like a 3-5-5 model. 3 permanent partners to each school, rotation, the other 10 conference opponents across a 2-year span. So it is going to change the way that the schedule ends up looking, the way that we've talked all baseball season about how things are weighted in terms of playing opponents. So it's going to look a little bit different now in terms of former Atlantic schools that sometimes would Atlantic schools would be spared. Clemson and Florida State, now they're gonna get a little bit more balance. You're gonna see more games against Virginias and your Dukes and stuff like that in terms of the across conference. So just wanted to point that out, that it's a little bit different in terms of the makeup this year.
Yeah, blowing up the divisions is all the rage now in college football. ACC falling in line. The other thing too, and Jackson and I talked about this at the outset of the show before Jackson jump in to individual win totals that you're looking at. When you talk about the ACC, you have to talk about the Notre Dame effect as well, right?
Yes,
because
you do,
they still play 6 games a year this year, and I'll tell you right now who they are. They play North Carolina State, Duke, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, and the one that I think is fascinating and can't wait to see is Notre Dame travels to Clemson on November 4th.
Oh,
so there are your 6 games. If you're looking and considering win totals in the ACC, you've really got to factor the Notre Dame effect. But Jackson, you looking at the ACC right now, a couple schools that you're zeroing in on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to look up the win totals real quick for Notre Dame before we go to the ACC, because Notre Dame's schedule, they play Ohio State at home, they play USC at home, and they play Clemson. So very tough schedule for them. The over-under total for win totals for Notre Dame is 8.5, which I'm kind of leaning towards possibly the over. I was going to say that,
We'll get to Notre Dame. We'll do Notre Dame when we do the Big Ten, because that's where they're going to end up anyways. But Jackson, we can
do it when we do BYU and the Independents.
Who are you looking at in the ACC?
Well, yeah, so the favorites obviously are got to be Clemson and Florida State. Let's start out with Clemson. Over-under win total at 9.5. They've got Cade Klubnik coming back for a second year. They got Garrett Riley at OC from TCU, that TCU team that did make the national championship. I think this is the team that's under the most pressure probably in college football is Clemson. Can they get over the hump? Can they do something in this conference? Over-under total there, 9.5 for Clemson. Your guys' thoughts?
I agree with you on the pressure. Because they've been on the mountaintop, right? And the question is, when are they going to get back, right? So I agree. It at a 9.5, 10 win number, that's tough. That's tough because everybody is gunning for you, and I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about them this year. I would go the under right now if I was to wager on Clemson.
I will be wagering on the Clemson over. I love it. Give me the over in this one. Their 3 hardest opponents are at home. I love having teams go into the other Death Valley. Shout out to LSU. But I love having, Florida State, that's their toughest in-conference opponent. Home. North Carolina, that's second. Home. You mentioned that Notre Dame game. Home. Those are all at Clemson. I love that. The only one that I really look at, and if I'm to do the ledger, right, win, loss, and go down their schedule, The one that I look at that I take the most pause, and because of my incredible hatred for Notre Dame, I'm going to give them a win in this one. But Notre Dame is the toughest game on the schedule. That's the only one. So I am dead over on this one. Love it.
Does Clemson play at North Carolina?
Clemson hosts North Carolina. They go at South Carolina.
Gotcha.
The rivalry game at the end of the year.
So they are favored to win the conference at plus 155. And you
Love
mentioned how top heavy it is. The second favorite is Florida State at plus 185, and then followed by Louisville, North Carolina, NC State. So Florida State's in second at plus 185, and then it jumps to Louisville at plus 750. So that just tells you how top heavy the ACC is.
I think Mike Norvell, responded well last year because there was a lot of pressure after his first 2 seasons. Again, at a place like Florida State, it's performance versus expectations, right? And sometimes at big-time college football programs, I'm looking at you, Nebraska, expectations get out of whack based on where you're at in 2023 versus, whatever it was in the 70s or 80s. And I think Florida State kind of in that boat, but I thought they rebounded well. They won 10 games a year ago. And you look at this schedule that they have this year, it's a mix. It really is. There are some really interesting, difficult games. They play a neutral field game early in the season against LSU. I think that game's in Orlando, which is an interesting matchup. You already talked about the matchup with Clemson coming up. They avoid the Notre Dame effect in terms of the ACC partnership with the Fighting Irish. So that number at 9.5 or 10, wherever you see it coming in, it kind of varies. But I don't know. I look for Mike Norvell and that the Seminoles to be right at that. And that, if you get it at 9.5 or 9, maybe you're interested in it. Maybe 10's a little rich.
Yeah, 9.5, the over-under total right now for Florida State. But, it's crazy to go back to that, your point about Florida State playing LSU. You remember that game last year? Remember how sloppy it was on both sides? And Florida State had a tough start to the year in LSU. And a year later, both teams are going to be the strongest they've been in forever. I mean, LSU with Jaden Daniels. I'm a big fan of Florida State's quarterback, Jordan Travis, both coming into year 2 and different offenses. I'm excited to see how that game
and they're
out.
2 rivals. And we'll talk about Miami, I'm sure, in a minute, and we'll get to Florida when we play or talk about the SEC.
Yeah.
Their 2 main rivals, in-state rivals, are both down, right? And those are teams that you see on the conference every year. I think, I think that works in their favor. And then they've got a game sandwiched in between that the SEC teams are probably mad that they took from them. They've got a home game against North Alabama the second to last week of the season. So that's why I'm kind of interested. It's really a schedule. You get past LSU, and you look at that. You got LSU and Clemson both in September. Once you're clear of that, it's not a terrible schedule for the Seminoles.
I like the over on this. And in addition to liking the over, I think it would be an interesting bet too. And I know I just said the Clemson's going to roll dead over for me, but the way that the conference is now realigned is why I wanted to point it out earlier. I also like a bet on Florida State to win the whole damn thing. Because if Florida State gets into that championship game, it's not in Clemson. That's in Charlotte. I know that the North Carolina is right across the border. I understand, but that is a neutral site situation in which they could actually play in that championship game. So I like the over, and I might go take a look and see what the odds are of Florida State to win the conference outright, because that to me, it's just one football game. It's just any given Saturday.
What about the Hurricanes this year, fellas? I mean, you talk about a team, again, pressure, performance versus expectations, and where they thought this team would be. 5-7 a year ago, missed the bowl picture, and you look at this schedule again this year. Miami plays Miami to start the opening week. Congratulations! I don't know if that one's ever happened before, but it's not a terrible schedule for the Hurricanes this year. They travel to Temple. They've got Bethune-Cookman, among others, on this non-conference slate. I don't know. I look at this, and maybe this is the year they turn it around. But 5-7. Or something comparable is not going to cut it at Miami again.
Yeah, I want to mention, too, the 9.5 win totals for both Clemson and Florida State. It's minus money. Miami, Florida, 7.5 over under. The overs at plus 116. So Vegas itself doesn't even think that Miami is going to get over 7.5 wins.
I want so bad. I want Miami to be good
for college
again.
football.
It's good for college football when the U is good. I'm going to lean towards the under on this one, though, just because they're building something and they're not quite there yet. But man, Miami, I hope for the over. I hope.
I agree
I'm going
with
under,
you.
though.
I totally agree. There's certain programs, depending on what the sport you're talking about, even if you don't particularly care for them or you're a fan of them, but it's good for the sport when they're good and they're relevant and they're in the headlines for good things. And Miami football is definitely on that list of things. And I'm not I could care less, as a fan, right? But I think when you talk about the sport, it's good to have the Hurricanes be relevant.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how a rebuilt or evolving coaching staff looks for them. Tyler Van Dyke is a quarterback there. He looked great after a couple years. Injuries, so we'll see what happens with Miami. But man, if we can get it going for Mario Cristobal in his second year, that would be fun for Miami. And I know it's not technically on South Beach, but relatively speaking, it'd be fun for South Beach to be partying for the Hurricanes.
Miami's odds to win the ACC is plus 2,300, but I got to talk about the dark horse in this conference just because of how good their quarterback is in Drake May. I think North Carolina with Mac Brown has got to be a team that you discuss, a dark horse in this conference. Their over-under win total is at 8.5, guys, and they've got a lot of home games this year. They've got Duke at home. You mentioned earlier, Bauer, that they got to play Clemson on the road.
Yeah, it's tough.
Your guys' thoughts about North Carolina making some noise in the ACC? They're plus 850 to win the conference.
Yeah, when you take a look at that, obviously everything starts, begins, ends with Drake May. And the defense kind of a little questionable right there. This is a team that really could go double-digit wins, or could,
I would take the over,
or could miss. It could be a 500 team, especially if Drake May ends up, getting banged up a little bit. I would say, what was the number? Did you have it at 8.5?
Yeah, it was 8.5. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Their hardest game is Clemson, but other than that, maybe Duke might be a questionable game.
Yeah, but if they're 8-4, then that's an under. 8-4 means Minnesota's not easy. You're at Pitt, at
South
Clemson,
Carolina,
at
week
NC
one.
State. South Carolina is a monster game. Miami's I'm gonna lean to the under.
I'm
gonna
too.
lean under.
And I get the Drake May conversation, but when you're a college football program and you're talking about individual players having to carry, that's a tough load. That's a tough load. And I lean with you again, Bauer. It's not great radio to always agree.
They were 9-5 last year, by the way. 9-5 for North Carolina last year. Overall, I mean, it's man. Whoever made the odds, good job on that number. Good 8.5 right there.
Good call.
Can we agree, though, out of all the Power 5 conferences, this is probably the least most attractive conference?
Right now, I think there's a lot of questions.
Most attractive.
You look at, again, it goes.
So the least attractive.
But doesn't it go back to that Clemson conversation? Clemson carried them and did marvelously doing so. Yep. But once they started to fall back a little bit, and again, not a negative, just not to, undefeated seasons, it just changes the whole conversation about the conference. Absolutely correct, Jackson. All right, we'll step aside here. We expect our good friend Casey from the Sportsbook at CAZ, the CAZ Sportsbook, to join us here momentarily. But also, we got to do more Diamondbacks talk. They're getting ready to square off game 2 of the 3-game weekend set at Cincinnati.
Let's go, boys.
That's coming up next on 5.
Take the points.
All clear.
Powered
I
by
couldn't
the
find a
Sportsbook
Casey
at
intro.
CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Any car dealer in Arizona can compete on price. That's what dealers do. But not many dealers can compete on customer satisfaction. Like Wright Toyota. Make the right choice. Wright Toyota is
music, Sam Adams.
The 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. And online at WrightToyota.com.
We're your neighbors. You should stop by for a visit.
It's a spot.
Arizona.
I'm
Come on
confused.
in. Our slots are spinning, our dealers are dealing, and everyone's yelling bingo. Isn't it about time you see your friends again? So stop by to say hello. Stay a while. Relax. Enjoy yourself. We'd love to see you again. Hey, this place was made to
We're just sending it. We're just gonna go normal.
your casino, Arizona.
Join Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy D Thursdays at one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. The guys broadcast live from 1 to 5 Valley locations. And tune in at 2:45 for Peaks Picks, your chance to win a Twin Peaks man card. It's Guys Live every Thursday at Twin Peaks.
A homeowner just like you decides to fix his roof.
Okay.
He backs up his truck, ties one end of the rope to the bumper and the other to himself.
Smart.
He's working on the backside of the roof until...
What?
Wait, no.
Yes, Dad was in tow.
Ooh, was he hurt?
A few bruises and his pride.
Save yourself with State 48 Roofing, offering maintenance, repairs, and replacements. Of course, licensed, insured, and bonded. From residential to commercial. State48roofing.com.
Looking for a change in your career? All City Towing is searching for motivated teammates to join their team. Current openings now available in customer service, tow truck operators, yard management, facilities maintenance, and dispatch. Apply online at allcitytowing.com/careers or call 480-833-7278.
What are you doing for dinner tonight? Venezia's Pizzeria has a summer of savings deal you don't want to miss. Get an extra large one-item pizza for $13.99.
Rather than us just doing a Google Doc that nobody can see and stuff like that, is that we would do it on the Action Network, their app, and then it would track our picks.
Just use the code SOS when you order. Available for dine-in, to-go, and even delivery. Order now. Venezias.com. Limit of 5 per order.
Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4 as Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B broadcasts live from the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. The Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise. That's the guys, live every Monday from CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona.
See your Valley.
You guys making moves
during the Chevy Summer Drive going on now. New inventory is arriving daily. Don't miss your chance for some great deals this summer. See your Valley Chevy dealers for the best deals and the best selection during the Chevy Summer Drive today.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the
1 minute.
How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now.
Isn't it hard to make money with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy when you fill up at stations like Circle K.
Wait, are you saying you get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
30 seconds.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas from participating stations like Circle K. Use promo code 2023 for an extra 50 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code 2023 for a 50 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code 23.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports.
And you're live.
Rolling along on a Saturday.
It's Drake. It's a good song.
I like it. I was watching you. That's good stuff. Hey, regular listeners of the program know what time it is. It's Casey from the Sportsbook here at Casino, Arizona. Casey, how was your week?
It's pretty good. Just got back in from Vegas, so it was a little bit of a rough week, but happy to be back.
You are built for Vegas, though, because you're already used to the heat, so you're okay. You're better than most people who go to Vegas.
Yeah.
So when you got to Vegas, because I understand it was nearly as hot in Las Vegas as it has been here in Phoenix. Did you stay in one place, or did you kind of move around?
I pretty much stayed in the MGM Grand. If I had to go anywhere, it was late at night.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Smart.
Was it well? And last personal question. We're diving deep into Casey's personal life here.
Let's do it.
Was it a business trip or kind of business pleasure? What was the purpose of the trip to Las Vegas?
It was more of a personal trip.
There we go. I didn't know you work at a sports book. It could very easily be a business trip, I guess. But all right, time for the Boston update. This American League East is crazy, though. In all seriousness. You could have, and likely will have, whoever finishes last in the American League East will be above 500. That to me is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You look at the American League West, especially the bottom half, Oakland, is awful. The AL Central is always awful. And it's just top-heavy with the American League East.
Yeah, exactly how you said it. Good thing is, though, we got the Yankees right now in dead last in the AL East, so we like to see that.
So if Boston's no good, but New York's worse, you're okay with that? And it's a relative term. No good is relative, right? But yeah,
a majority of the time for sure.
All right.
But amazing, the Orioles got first place now over the Rays though after that hot start.
That is crazy. And I saw a stat, and I got to find it.
That's a fun team to watch, though.
I think our friends at Wager Talk put it out there when you talk about the Rays and the Orioles, and there was one other team of wins, like how much they spent per win based on how their payroll and the number of wins they have. Tampa and Baltimore were at the top of the list. Really average payroll, even in some cases below average, but outperforming that number all season long.
Yeah, I mean, I feel Tampa Bay does it every year, to be honest.
It's pretty impressive / infuriating when you look at that, though, and you go, man, Tampa's able to do it every year. They don't spend at the Dodgers, at the Red Sox, at the Yankees, at the Padres level, and they still draft and develop. They bring in the right talent, and I mentioned it briefly, but they and Baltimore are both really fun young teams that, there's a lot of, especially with Randy Arozarena, there's a lot of personality on those teams. But also, with the Orioles, apologies to your Red Sox, but it's fun to watch a team that's not the Yankees win that division.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the crazy thing is I'm not positive, but I think the Orioles were like 66 or 67 wins for the whole year.
Wow.
I love the phrase performance versus expectations, and you're absolutely right. That nobody expected anything from Baltimore, and which, if you're a baseball fan, and in particular an Orioles fan, makes this even that much sweeter.
I want to change the topic to a real sport, Casey, in golf. The British Open, round 3 just concluded.
There's so much wrong with that statement, but I'm just going to let you go. I'm going to let you go.
Me, please?
I'm going to let you go. I love golf, but how dare you besmirch the great game? America's pastime. Why do you hate America, Jackson?
It's the greatest game ever.
Why do you hate America?
All right, the British Open. What kind of action did
that? Okay, go ahead.
What kind of action did you get from the sports book of the Open? Any Brian Harman bets?
Very, very small amounts. Nothing big on him. We've been having him for the last couple. All your money pretty much went, Scheffler, Rory. We actually had a good amount on Justin Thomas. He didn't even make the cut. I think he was plus 11.
Yeah, he was.
But then you had Shane Lowry was actually a pretty big pick, and Padraig Harrington. A lot of the guys links golf that way. So future-wise, didn't look too good. Head-to-head matchups, people have done not really well either. We had a lot of people today take Rory over Victor Hovland.
Hovland had a good day.
4 under, I think.
5 under today. Yeah.
5 under, and Rory was 2 under. And then a lot of people bounced back with Scotty Scheffler over Patrick Cantley.
So
Cantley was like 4 under.
So most people come in here to do the matchups more than the futures bet, is what I'm hearing.
No. Overall, we definitely take more on the outright winners. But each day somebody wants more action, something to watch, like for that round. So they come in and they do those round matchups.
With something like that, when do you get the most bets on that? Is it the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of a tournament? Is it the Thursday? Is it after the first round? Like when do you see the most bets come in for a big tournament like this, a major like the Open Championship?
For the outright winners, it's any time from Sunday to that Wednesday. It's nonstop all day. We have people come up, they get the golf sheets. They probably bet anywhere from 10 to 15 golfers at a time.
Really? You have people start just loading up and kind of hedging their own bets, being like, I'm going to spray $10 here and $20 there?
Yeah, which is crazy because, you only have one winner anyway, so, 14 of them tickets are dead. So
funny. So ESPN came out with the first for the final round tee times or whatever. They mentioned, obviously, the last 2 groups being Harman Young and Raman Day, and they also mentioned Brooks Koepka, Scotty Scheffler teeing off at 12:45 a.m., whereas the other ones are teeing off not till like 6. It's kind of interesting who would have thought Scotty Scheffler, Brooks Koepka would be at one of the early tee times heading into the final round.
Yeah, the way those guys have played so far, it definitely makes sense. We are going to incorporate the British Open into our picks, but not with Brian Harman. We're gonna kind of get everybody's thoughts on who's gonna come in second after the round, because we're gonna chalk it up and go, look, Brian Harman can go out there and he could putt the course tomorrow and probably still fare pretty well, being up by 5 strokes over Cam Young. So, Jackson, do you want to get things going with our picks for Mr. Casey over here?
We'll start off with Women's World Cup. The United States play Netherlands on July 26th, and now the odds haven't come out right now, Casey, but we assume the United States are going to be favored in this matchup. Who do you like? And I got to mention, Casey, before you get your pick, you have been on fire. You're 5-1 in your last 2 weeks.
Look at this guy.
I'm
We don't have a number yet. We don't, there's soccer. For some reason, soccer doesn't play.
Or you could do it
like once a week.
You could bet on the draw, a tie.
No, I would say in all fairness, obviously USA is going to win. The money line's probably going to be USA minus 10,000. So give me whatever the handicap is. They'll probably be minus like 2 goals. So I'll take the goals.
I think the U.S. was minus 20,000 against Vietnam last night, right? There's something close to that.
Yeah, anywhere between 25,000 and 20,000.
Does anybody actually bet on that? Because if I give you $20,000, you're going to give me $100.
Yeah, what a deal!
Do people do that?
To be honest, like we had a lot of people say March Madness. We had Arizona against Princeton. Arizona was minus 1,800, and we had people loading up 1,800 to win 100 on U of A all day.
So you guys went. So then, when Princeton wins, you guys are just celebrating back there. It's a good day for you. Wow! All
right,
it was a great day for me as a Sun Devil.
What do you like?
USA. I can't. USA. I don't want Bauer to get mad at me the way he did with you with baseball, but yeah, make
Bauer.
I was really disappointed. So the U.S. wins over Vietnam 3-0. Look at me. I used a soccer word, nil. They win 3-0. They were favored by 6.5. And there was only 3 goals in the game. Soccer is boring. Give me the under.
Oh, under there.
That's it. I'm going just kind of like you guys did with the summer league, and you're like, I should just take the under. I'm taking the under in every soccer game between now and the rest of history.
I'm going to go USA. The last time the Netherlands and USA played each other was back in November 27, 2020, and the USA won 2-0.
That's a good Googling.
I know it from the top of my head, actually. No, I'm just kidding. I Googled it.
What year was that again?
2020.
So that was 3 years ago. So most of these players weren't even on the national.
Alex Morgan was. But all right, let's continue on. We're running out of time here. D-backs at Reds. D-backs underdogs, I believe. Right?
Yeah, today really close.
Underdogs?
Yeah,
Okay,
minus
cool.
110.
All right, who do you like in this one, Casey?
I'm going to go under the 11 runs.
Wow. All right.
Oh, under.
Make mine the Diamondbacks. This is a game, you talk about surprising in Atlanta. This is a Cincinnati team that's nipping at their heels in the wild card standings. And, they got the difficult 2 series out of the way with Toronto and Atlanta. This is one we'd like to see them make up a little ground despite the loss last night. So make mine the Diamondbacks.
All right, Brandon Pfaadt has been called up. He is starting this game. He has been mostly unwatchable this season in his big league debut. He did have one great game against San Francisco. Other than that, it's been a really rough go for him. All that said, give me the Diamondbacks. Go D-backs.
D-backs.
You guys, anytime you put a D-backs game in here, you know how I'm going to go.
Contractually obligated.
Not necessarily, but I'm gonna. It's a homer pick.
I'm going to go over. Last week I went under for all 3, and they went over for the D-backs last week, so I'm going to go over for this week.
Now, Casey's going to pick up a game on you. He went under.
Lastly, the British Open, but we're not doing the Victor. We're doing the second place, the silver medal.
Unless you take Hovland, in which case we are doing the Victor. Just saying.
Yep.
Okay.
It's accurate.
All right.
They didn't get that one.
No, I did get it. I didn't want to acknowledge it. Gross, who do you like?
Jason Day.
All right.
Without any thought, Jason Day.
I'm going to go Cameron Young.
So Cam Young's there. Now, you don't have, it's not a draft. You can pick anybody you'd like at the top of the leaderboard that's not named, obviously, Brian Harman, because Harman's up there at the top of the leaderboard. And then you've got, you've got a handful of these guys just in the mix. You can take anybody you want. Except for Justin Thomas. He missed the cut by $1 million.
Give me England's own Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh, man, look at you
the
guys.
The crowds
leaving,
are going to be behind him tomorrow.
Look at you guys leaving John Rahm out there for me. I will take it. Give me Rombo to come in second, runner-up.
Casey, as we said, 35 days away from the start of college football season. Notre Dame Navy from Dublin leads it off. But you guys are starting to get busy, as you said. Lots of people coming in, college football, NFL. What can you guys offer people if they're out and about and want to stop by the CAZ Sportsbook?
Yeah, come on in. We have future win totals for both college football, NFL football, Super Bowl winners, national champions. We have division winners, player of the years, offense, defense, coach of the years, all that stuff. Open every day from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., and the kiosks are 24/7.
I just want to ask you, when will you take odds on Caleb Williams being drafted by the Cardinals with the #1 pick? We're just taking a bunch of different things there.
It should probably be within the next month or so, but that's what everybody's banking on.
Yeah, I know.
There we go. Every Saturday he joins us. He's Casey from the Sportsbook here at Casino Arizona. Casey, good stuff. We appreciate it. We'll step aside for one more break, come back, and wrap up today's edition of it's right here on Fox Sports 910.
Take the
All
points.
clear.
Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Check this out. This is The Herd. You're excited. I'm excited.
With Colin Cowherd.
I know you think you know more on social media, but every scout I know, and I've known a lot for a long time, say he's as good as any player ever, barring injury because of his unique size and length. He needs to get stronger. He is already disruptive on the defensive end, and that's really important.
This is The Herd. Monday at 10. Tell your smart speaker to play Fox Sports 910.
Any car dealer in Arizona can compete on price. That's what dealers do. But not many dealers can compete on customer satisfaction. Like Wright Toyota. Make the right choice. Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. Just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. And online at WrightToyota.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, sports fans, celebrate every big game with El Bandito Yankee, an ultra-premium tequila made from 100% Blue Weber agave in the highlands of Jalisco. Their certified additive-free Blanco and Reposado features a unique oxygenation process for a rich smoothness without that tequila burn. It's why they won platinum and gold medals and are now listed as one of the world's top tequilas by Rolling Stone. Head over to your local store, favorite bar, or restaurant in all 7 Barrio Queen locations. Go to elbanditoyankee.com and break out the Bandito with the official tequila of game day.
What's up, guys? Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. #SexyRoofStatus. All of our work using state-of-the-art materials and 5-star workmanship. Our inspections are free. You heard me? Free. Go to state48roofing.com to schedule your free appointment today.
At Lerner & Rowe, we measure our success based on the amount of money we recover for our clients. We're proud to say that we've collected billions of dollars for them. And no,
Is Bauer saying that they should get rid of the World Cup in like 2 weeks? They can play it in 2 weeks?
$1 billion. Millions of dollars recovered.
Is Bauer saying that they should just play the World Cup in a week or two?
In Arizona than any other law firm. Get the money you deserve. Call Lerner & Rowe today.
I was trying to eavesdrop.
977-1900. Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4.
I can tell.
Broadcast live from the CAZ Sports.
Are you saying that they should just play the World Cup in like 2 weeks?
CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise. That's the guys live every Monday from CAZ
But they run a lot more than the football players.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts.
So you want them to run 9 miles every day,
barrel
90 minutes.
are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean,
but they're not playing with a soccer ball.
Always comes in clutch every day.
Yeah, I'm upset with that comment.
Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is always adding exciting cocktails to the menu, like the expert.
The most that they do is
Hall of Fame
a 2.
margarita.
Well,
Easiest decision in the history of decisions.
yeah, that.
Beverages. Try one of 3 blends of sweet fruit flavors, real fruit
Coming back.
and lemonade to savor every sip of summer. Order yours in the Starbucks app.
Back to Take the Points.
I love ending it with this.
CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
You're live.
Closing time.
let him breathe.
Welcome back to Take the Points on Fox Sports 910.
You didn't let it breathe.
Jackson Groff, Mike Gross, Mike Bauer. What a great show we had today.
Ryan's doing a great job back there, and you walked all over.
Well, some of our listeners might be sleeping to that sound. I know it's a sad time the show has ended. But
that is true. Don't forget our Twitter poll question each and every week. We've got one out there right now that's got a little bit time to run. Diamondbacks, as they approach the trade deadline, what do they need to do? What position do they need to address? And we'll give our thoughts on this right now. The choices were starting pitching, bullpen, add another bat, or other. I don't know what else you could do if you watch this Diamondbacks team. You don't need an outfielder, do you? No.
No, definitely not.
At Fox 910 Saturday, Jackson, how did you vote on that poll?
I went pitcher, either or, starting or closing.
But you can't. You can only click one vote. You can't vote for both.
I went starting pitcher. Because that's all I've been hearing from every single person talking Diamondbacks for the past 3 weeks is that they need bullpen pitching. So I went.
I think if you have the opportunity to select both, it's probably not a bad choice because you look at how they lost Game 3 of the series in Atlanta. The bullpen let them down. It was so disappointing. Like I said, you win 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, and you actually come away feeling disappointed after that game. And then starting pitching. And Bauer, you mentioned it before. Like you bring somebody up from AAA to start, and you're like, ooh, you hope you can just survive it, but you've got nobody else. So I think the better answer for whoever wrote that Twitter poll question would have been both starting and relief pitching. And the thing is, if you look at rankings of the farm system, you've got enough capital in your system now to make some serious moves. You have to. Because right now you're 3 games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't know if you're going to catch them or not. If you don't have the starting pitching as it's built right now, even if guys get healthy, to play wild card series and then immediately jump in if you advance to play a regular series, the next series. You just don't. And then again, look at Atlanta as to why you've got to address the bullpen.
It's really tough because to me, again, if there was an option for both starting and bullpen, if I'm going to have to prioritize one of those two, and thankfully the D-backs bats have been pretty reliable. I mean, still third base is a place you could make an improvement, but the biggest area for improvement for this team is definitely in pitching. And to me, if you go out and you add a starter, a lot of that other stuff can kind of fall into place. Plus, on top of that, Zach Davies is on the IL now. You got Merrill Kelly with that blood clot. He's hopefully coming back soon. You had to bring up Brandon Pfaadt today. You got a bullpen game coming up. I mean, it's been a rough go for the starters for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you're leaning on Zach Gallen to pitch and perform at a level that he's never to pitch as much and perform a level that he's never done in his career. And keep in mind, this was his first All-Star game. We think of him as an ace, and he is. But he's never done it before this long and been the ace on this team.
And when you watch this team, we talk about performance versus expectations, right, Jackson? And you talk about teams that we talked about at the start of the season, 80, 81, 82 games. That's what we thought this team would win. They're going to exceed that. But now that you've had the first half that you've had, I don't like the idea that somebody is untouchable in the farm system if it means getting this team over the hump and improving their positions in the postseason. It's been so long since we've been in this position. If you're a Diamondbacks fan, if you live in Phoenix, Arizona, don't tell me somebody's untouchable. I think do what you have to do to make this postseason memorable for the fans.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because at the beginning of the season, a lot of Diamondbacks fans would not have thought the D-backs would be at where they are right now. Now being said, we've seen spurts of greatness from this team, and I think the Diamondbacks fans want to see this management capitalize on it and try to win not only a playoff game, but maybe even a World Series with the amount of talent they have right now. My question to you, Bauer, you talk about pitching. What's the status on Merrill Kelly? That's a guy that's been injured for a while. I don't know if he's coming back soon. Last time we spoke last week, he had a mock game. Is he going to be potentially coming back for this Red Series, or is it the series after?
It's the series after. It's going to be the Cardinals series this week at Chase Field. Get your tickets, dbacks.com. But yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you have the D-backs hosting the Cardinals. It's expected that he'll be back. Hey, Torey Lovello said just earlier this week that he's likely to pitch at Chase Field for the D-backs. So hopefully Merrill's back. I was concerned. Anytime you see, look, and I don't want to say this, that any injury is minor, but when you see somebody that like, oh, I tweaked an arm or I pulled a muscle in my hamstring, when you see blood clot, it's a different reaction. Mm-hmm. So now you start not wondering about like, okay, when's he going to be back to pitch? You're like, all right, is dude okay? Like, so thankfully, hey, Merrill Kelly, he goes on the IL on June 27th. He's essentially going to miss the entire month of July, but it could be next week that he's back. That is what Torey Lovello said. Expected to have him back next week. And for the D-backs, that is a huge, huge shot in the arm for them. A guy that probably could have been an all-star in terms of his performance this year. 3.22 ERA has been tremendous this year. D-backs in games that he's pitched, 10-6. 10-6 this season.
9 days until the trade deadline wraps up. Will Ohtani be traded? Yes or no?
Oof. I don't know. I think, yeah. I think if you're the Angels, yeah, he's made it clear. I want to win, and I don't know where the Angels are in that spectrum right now. Just if you're a Diamondback fan, don't deal them to that other team in Southern California.
Man, ain't that the truth? I mean, the Angels are still the odds-on favorite at right around minus 170.
1 minute.
I mean, hey, there's a reason why sportsbooks are successful. I'm going to say he does not get traded because I'm looking at the odds that he doesn't. Man, there's a lot of teams that would love to add a once in a lifetime, once ever, one of a kind ever player.
Trade deadline coming up on August the 1st, so we're right around the corner from that. That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks to everybody out here at the CAZ Sportsbook. Thanks to Chris Garfin from SunDevilSource.com. And, of course, Casey from the Sportsbook. Don't forget Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B, Monday through Friday, 1 to 4 p.m. right here on the station.
20.
Great job by Ryan back in the studio today for Bauer, for Jackson. I'm Mike Gross. We'll see you next Saturday right here on Fox Sports 910.
All clear.